Hey everybody, welcome to my mess. Okay, yesterday I was showing you I was having problems trying to plane stuff off. Well, today I want to show you this is what I'm doing. I took this blade, turned it around so you could reverse them. All right. So I looked at the one that I had on there, and this side here was the bad side. This looks like it hasn't been used, so I'm gonna flip it around and use it. So the what you do is there's knobs here, and what you do is you carefully put this in, not to lose the springs. Ah, see, almost lost that one there. Okay, so now I could put these back in and resume. Now, here's the thing. This can only go on one way. So instead of going this way, see there's not no holes. It has to go on this way, but there's the holes for the pins. Same spot I put the blade. Okay. So you put this in here carefully. That's the, with the springs in there, it's kind of, funky daisy. So what I usually do is I just do that a little bit. And then I get one or two of the center. What I usually do is I work from the center out. Okay, so like when you do a star-shaped thing on your car, all right, for your wheels when you take them off. Like kind of the same way here. You want to work this way out, it tightens up better. And then when you get it tight enough, those pins, see, there's a pin there, there's a pin there. This rides down there. So what I do is I really push down hard on it. Hey, Wade, what's going on, buddy? Yeah, it's an old one. Well, I want to say it's old, but it's probably about 10, 12 years old. I guess it's old. And I've been having issues with it, so I'm changing. I got a set of blades here, and I forgot. I don't know if people sharpen these blades. So that's the reason why I didn't get rid of my old ones. So anyway, what I'm doing here. See, when I put these things back together, I put them so I can tighten them from the center out. That way you don't get unevenness. You don't get a air bubble is what I call it in the middle there. Yep, yep. And there'd be a lot of screws. I think there's 10 of them. Oh, well, thanks for showing up when you're working. I'll tell you what, I was outside working on my Mustang, and it's 92 or 3, but it's almost 100 degrees out there with the heat index. It's really humid. I had an issue with a idler arm bearing, and anyway, it's supposed to come in at O'Reilly's Auto Parts at 4 this afternoon, my time, and that's when I'll go get it and put it in. But my power steering unit's been bugging me a little bit, so I've had to fix a lot of things on that car lately. It's starting to nickel and dime me to death, kind of like my woodworking did. Okay, so what I do is I go backtrack here a little bit. Okay, so back to the middle, tighten that down. Then I'll go here. To here. Yeah, I have to figure out how to adjust my rollers. They get hung up in here. And I've taken sandpaper to them. No, you don't want to. Somebody said, well, turn them on and put sandpaper on it. You don't turn it on to put sandpaper on it. You figure out, you get something and you rub it on there. Okay, so now there's three blades on this. That's one. All right, so what you do is you go number two. And so the same idea here. When I take them apart, you don't ever want to use any kind of. You just want to tighten them hand tight. You don't want to take and put any power tools on it because you'll strip the heads. Oh, by the way, if you ever lose anything like stuff that's on here, Ace is the place. They're Hillman um, department with all the what do you call it, bolts and nuts and springs and stuff. That's the best place to find replacement parts. I love Ace. I'll go there and I'll look for anything just about and get it versus going to the other chain stores because I can never find it, you know? So, anyway. So now I'm basically taking this apart. My problem is I gotta get a smaller one, smaller wrench for this. That's where the rollers are. And I've got to figure out a way to, I don't know if they come raise or lower on this thing. I don't think they do, but I think they get to the point where I need to replace them, which could be a pain. And then there's adjustments on these screws. You can actually, I had the chain on this thing come off once. It's a plastic chain, believe it or not. So, yeah, it's three blades, double-sided. I don't know. I don't know if I can get anybody to sharpen these things, though. That's the problem. They're so skinny. And I'm going, well, if I was going to sharpen them myself, how would I do it? I've got a grinder over there, but the grinder, it would take these things off in a heartbeat. It would be like a mess. It would be. I don't think I can do it because I can't do my own tools for my lathe. I did get a setup for that, by the way. I just got to figure out how to put it up underneath my grinder. But so now again, you got to be careful when you pull this off. You got two springs there. Okay, so what I tend to do is just hold down to the middle, take one side off at a time. And then you try to pull it up or get it straight up if you can. There you go. See, these springs, I like to take them out when I'm working on it. You can find these at Hillman too. There's a lot of these screws you can find at Hillman. There's things you can put in here. They can find that at Hillman. If you're practical, you know what you're doing. Okay, so now I take the blade off, maybe. No, come on. Great. Okay, so. Okay, so here's the difference. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then, voila. Now, this is what I was talking about. You see how narrow these blades are? So, I want to say they're probably 2/16, maybe. I'm just curious. Never measured them, so I don't know. Yeah, they're about. Almost an eighth, just a little under an eighth. So trying to sharpen these things might be a pain in the butt, you know. Hey, yo boy, yo boy. I don't know where you're coming from. anyway, Wade, you've been doing any projects? See now, put it back on. The shiny side this way, the good side this way. Make sure before you put it back on. Now, the trick of the trade with this is you're going to put this back on. Oops. Hey, here's what happened. Now, see what I mean? These two springs, they stick together. Thought that was funny. Okay, so they sit in here a little bit, in a little pocket. Now, when you go to put this on, there's a trick of the trade. Okay, there's two holes here again, and one here, one here. The idea is to set this on as straight as you can and press down on it. Okay, so now you get it down enough to where you can start. Now I got it in the pins. Again, start in the middle. And I kind of screwed that one down a little bit. See, while you got, the other thing is too, while you have this thing apart, it's good to always go through here and clean this up with a vacuum. Now, if you don't have the shop vacs I do, a regular shop vac that you would normally use on cars or something, that'll work. But maintenance is a key with your tools, because then you don't, I'll just say, I always say that, right? But sometimes I could be the worst enemy of my own. Sometimes some of this stuff doesn't get done kind of half-ass. Okay, so, and you should do what your the maintenance log on, keep a maintenance log on it. I haven't done that a lot. I've just been going by what I think time-wise. Or hours. Yeah, hardly ever. It depends. Like this time of year, I don't do a lot of hours on this tools because I'm usually out there playing with the car a little bit. It's so darn hot out there. I don't feel like doing anything out there. Without my garage, even in the shade, it's like 100 degrees. Okay. We'll come back. Dude, now I want to see it and hear what you're doing for projects these days. Well, I want to see it from all you guys, all right? If you guys got something going on, you're working on, let me know. Oh, and I'm looking at starting an online woodworkers club. If you guys are interested in it, let me know. Well, we'll all get together, and the ones that are interested, we'll sit and do a powwow sometime, maybe on Zoom or something, and see what we can come up with. I'd love to do that. Okay, so one more time. This is one of my best tools, too. That's the thing. I spend a lot of time with this. I get a lot of junk stuff too. That's the big thing. If you haven't subscribed to the Dutchmans Wood Shack, please do. It lets you know when I'm on. No, I don't charge. So the other one, it says, excuse me, join. Don't do that. I don't charge. and I'm not going to either. A lot of people are doing that. A couple of people I know that are crafters are doing it. I can't afford it. If I did it to every one of those guys that I know, I'd be broke at the end of the week. So, I mean, I wish I could make money off my stuff, but I can't. So I'm not gonna put it on anybody else. So that's the way it is. So all you people out there, if you haven't joined in and subscribed, let me know. We're getting down here. It'll be nice once I go through and open these up. Get that blade turned around, and what I'll do is I'll show you how it works. So I've gotta get some stuff done. So my legs over there are one. Yeah, there we go. Oh man, that sucker was in there. A little bit too tight. Now, when you put these things back together, you don't want to spend too much time tightening. You want to be able to get it just hand tight. Don't over tighten it. Because you get to the point you can botch the heads up, and then you're screwed. Because then you got to take this whole damn thing apart. Have them tap it. Okay, so then you bring this back up. I already had that go through. See? I already have a problem here. Skirt, we put that there. Okay, so that side, see that? Man, that's really boogered up. That one is probably the worst, right there. So you want to reverse it. And difference between that one and this one, see? Sorry guys, kicking you around. I'm going to put you over here a little bit further so you can see. And make sure that you put it back the right way. There. Now, I thought about this way one time. Nah, I don't think so. It goes this way. That's the other thing. It could confuse you. If you're not paying attention which way those things go, take out the manual. Okay, so now you go back in here, you got the 2 pin holes. Make sure when you put this on, try and stay as flat, as tight as you can be. Okay, there, yeah, right there. See those 2 pin holes locking in, but you got to keep pressure on it. Then you stick a bolt back in there. It takes you about 15-20 minutes. So you should spend at least a half an hour on it, working on it and just cleaning it up. I'll show you something in a minute here. But the thickness planer, this is a Craftsman thickness planer. I don't know what the DeWalt's like. I'd love to try one of those out. I'm all in for demoing tools. This is what they call a 12-inch planer, but it's actually 13. These blades are 13 inches long. So again, when I go back to doing this, I want to make sure that I'm doing it. When I tighten it, it's kind of like a star on a car on your wheels. The idea is to make it lays flat this way. If you were to do it this way or any other way, you could have a bubble in there, and it's not. It could affect your performance. Bubble. Those springs in there too could be a pain in the butt sometimes. So a lot of times I'll tell people when you get to that point you could use this screwdriver. Usually I take a Phillips head or a piece of wood or a dowel or something that's a little bit smaller than that. And you go to tighten them up so they keep everything straight. Yeah, I keep dropping stuff. The good thing about when you drop it down here, it just falls in the bottom. One thing you don't want to get it caught in is on the sides. You have to get a magnet thing and go fishing for it. Speaking of fishing, I was going to do that today, but man, it's sweltering. I don't even, the fish are probably at the bottom where they're cool. Bottom of the ponds where it's cooler. Okay, now we're all good. Now I'll go through one more time, make sure everything's okay. That's good there. So what do you do now? You clean this. So this thing has a tendency sometimes. It's a sawdust chamber for all kinds of crap. What I tend to do is just beat on it because even sucking on it won't work very well. See that? Look at that. And there's chambers back in there in this section here that get. What are you doing beating up on me? Oh, no. Okay, so that's good there. Put this back in there. That's one thing good about this is got a chamber for tools back in here and extra parts on the side. Okay, so now you want to put this back in. And what you do, this is the tab for the stop on the motor. So what you do, oh wait a minute, you know what? I gotta clean this up a little bit, so. So that's good there. Now, the next thing I gotta do is put this little booger back in here like this. Now, the other thing is too, sometimes I'll do this, but it gets a little, you see that? bit on here that holds it down so you can use it. Sometimes you gotta adjust it a little bit. Now, if you ever lose these things, you can replace them. I mean, if you can't get them through the company or you don't want to wait for them, you can go to Hillman and get and get. They have stuff that's similar to this, so I don't think you need to have them too tall. That's the only thing bad about this. Okay, so that's there and that's there. That's good. That's the way I want it. Okay, so now the other two, the last but not least, are these. And this is where the vacuum goes. A lot of times, I might have this on backwards, but I don't know. Anyway, these two, the same thing. You get these in the Ace at Hillman. They're not that big a deal. Or you can use regular bolts. You just have to figure out a way to get it loose. So now, and they're not very long either. That's the only problem. With the foam on the back, sometimes they're a pain in the butt to get started. All right. That's the only problem with these things. They don't have long threads, and sometimes you have to force them on. Okay, we're good. All right, so now, now that we got that all set up, you know what? I might have it backwards. I do have it backwards. Dang it. I hate these things. Yeah, because when I had this thing turned around yesterday, I had it facing this way, showing you how it was going through. But yeah, same idea, different day. Easy to do this though. I don't know if it makes much difference one way or the other when I hook it up to the vacuum. Okay, so okay, so that makes difference there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna turn this thing around so you can see what I'm doing. You see that? All right, now I can plug this in. Plug it in, plug it in. All right, see that? That's all set to go. Now, there's another thing you need to be aware of too. The other thing is these tables, you can adjust them by right here. So say when you're pushing it through, that the cutting blades or leaving a groove when they go out, they have a tendency to go like this, right? And it might be part of the wheels problem too. I don't know. when I do that, you can adjust these things because there might be a hump. A lot of times I'll take a straight edge, preferably steel straight edge, like a ruler, and put it through here. It's about maybe a foot and a half long, and that'll straighten that part. It'll tell you what you need to do. Um, these screws in here, the screw jacks, I have a tendency sometimes to just clean them off. You could squirt them with what's greaseless. It's like garage door lubricating stuff, so it doesn't leave a film. Uh, it seems to work better than using. Don't use WD-40 because that'll clog up everything. I mean, you get on there and it'll pick up every single piece of dust, and then you got a problem. So, all right. So now, the one thing I had a problem with yesterday was trying to put this through. All right. So again, I have to run this through to get this straight. Because there's a little, this wood's a little off. Now this is hard here. This is coal wood, just one in the middle. These two in the middle are coal wood. So what I want to do, and same thing here, when I glued these, for some reason they moved around. I'll say so, but I'm only looking at using one because the top's going to be the open part. All right, so then I'm gluing another piece to this bottom here. This will be the bottom. So then there's a way to find out if you're getting cut straight. Take a pencil and go like this. And you can find out if you're cutting, if it's going at an angle, then you got to figure out how to readjust your sides or flip it around the other side. Now, I had a problem before. Don't ever go this way with it. You're going against the grain. It will move around and junk out stuff. It will tear the wood. It'll make a holy living mess out of your project. Don't ever go against the grain like that. So it's dangerous when you're doing a big piece like that. Okay, so now get the feel of it first. Now this thing is loud. When I turn it on, it's going to go nuts. I'm going to turn the vacuum on too. It's Powermatic. That's the other thing. When you have remotes, it works out pretty good. They've got to turn this on too. Show you this. When you're running it through, you want to keep it as straight as possible. So there's a fence on one side or the other, so you want to keep it on one side like this. It's going to want to move around on you, so don't ever use I should have changed the blades a long time ago. Okay, so this one, as you can see, my friend Joe would say it's cup. Now remember I was saying, if this thing is up, this thing has a tendency to want to go like this, one way or the other. Again, it depends which. Now, I don't know when I did this, how they got like that. But now, I have a theory that sometimes this thing gets bent. I don't know, maybe it's bent. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to run this part. I don't care about this, because by the time I'm through, it'll be all taken care of. Now, I'm going to lower it. This thing can go down to as low as an eighth. Now, the lowest I've gotten it is 3/8. And almost an eighth, actually. I kind of feel it out a little bit. Okay, that's about where I want it. So now, I'm going to do it again. Now that turned out to be a good both sides are awesome. Now, notice a little bit of what I was doing. If you see, remember I showed you how bad this was. Pretty cool, pretty clean. Now, the other thing is too, what this does for me, I'll turn this off. This thing acts like a joiner. Okay, so what happens is you could actually turn it up on side like this, not this size, but let's say you were doing something like this, or the boards on end. I just did it. I could turn them on side. If you make a jig and you want to get it straight, let's say you cut, especially if you cut for angles like this, for the sides, if you cut this on a table saw and you got a bunch of rough stuff, you're gonna join another piece with this glue, you could actually do what I just did with the other things like this and run it through, but you have to make your jig to where you can move it like this so it go straight. You don't want any play, you just barely want it, you want it loose, but you don't want to have any play either sides. I've done that with a separate board before. It works out really good. But you don't want to get too big. I've done it on this side. When the wood boards are just a bit like 3.5 inches, 4 inches high. I've actually done it that way with this too. That's kind of what it does. The thickness planer will take any kind of imperfections out of your wood. If you get a warped piece of wood, you can actually get it to take off. Like for instance this. You see how that's warped? If I put that through there, see that it'll be smooth like this. This is kind of rough and it's warped. And I use this stuff sometimes for other stuff, but I'm not going to run it through now. I just put new blades on it. I need it. So the other thing is too, like this. If I want to use this, I can run these through. I'm not going to though. I'm going to use this. I'm going to do something different with these. So I'll just leave those for now. But this thing works pretty good. There's a couple of different options you can use on it. It's really kind of cool. If you do, just you need it. A joiner is good for taking the rough cut off the sides of any piece of wood, and if it's warped, same thing. You can run it like this and take the warps out of it. But I like this when I get the warps in it. Like I just showed you, this thing works better than the joiner. The joiner is really good just for doing this. Now you can do the same thing with a router table. You get the right bit and the right setup on a router table, you can do the same thing. So you don't need to necessarily have this for big projects to do. So safety first though all the time. Wear glasses, and actually you should probably be wearing a safety glasses for it and ear protection. Otherwise you'll be deaf like me. So now what you should do at the end of every time you use this is go through and suck up all this stuff. I've got a smaller hose that I can get in there to get a little bit tighter. But I'm going to be using this later for something, so I'm not gonna clean it out right now because I'm just going to dirty it up. At the end of the day, you want to make sure you get all your tools clean. And I know a lot of guys, well, I don't have time, but you should make sure that you take at least a half an hour to 40 minutes out of your day to keep your tools clean and up to snuff. One thing is there's nothing worse than a dull one of these where you're smoking the heck out of the wood and you're burning it like you just saw, or dull blades on a miter saw. Anyway, thanks for watching me. You guys have a great night. I'm going to go upstairs and kind of relax, and hoping soon that I get my part for my Mustang because that's where I'm going next. Alright guys, thanks for watching the Dutchmans Wood Shack, and that was kind of my tool time thing today. Oh, one other thing before you go. This. Okay, I asked people to give me an idea what these are, alright? And I'm still asking you. So I'll be asking you all week. Since it's Tool Time Tuesday, alright? I like to show people what this is. They both do the same thing. Alright, they both do the same thing for the same project. This one here is a little bit different because you can take and unscrew this right here and move this in. So, but they're both made for the same thing. So what is the name of that tool? What is the name of the tool? Alright? Leave me a message. Let me know what it is. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I need more people to watch me. I need to get, and I'm hoping I help you in some way. God bless you guys. Have a great rest of the Tuesday. And I'm going to go up and, like I said, go get my part from O'Reilly's. Later, Gators.